Phone wonderful. Thank you very much for joining. We are three brewing brothers from Worcester. I'm Aaron, and I'm going to introduce you to my lovely brothers here. I've got my lovely brother Lee. He's a master brewer. And then I've got my brother.
Just brewer.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're not a master anymore, are you? And then we've got Master Gamer Jack.
Technical advisor.
Thank you very much for joining. We've got loads of people in the chat. Thank you. If you're new to us, then hi and welcome. We'll run through who we've got in and is in the chat. We've got Velasini, we've got Harry Wafu, Robinson, Naomi, Malvin Dan, Rowan, Tracy, Dog, Gavin. Thank you very much for joining. We will get back to you and talk to you in a moment. Please type in !play to join our competition. Again, we'll run through that in a minute. But before all of that, I'm going to give you a rundown of everything that is on today's show.
Yeah.
And we are a brewing and gaming stream, aren't we? So, first of all, Lee, what be the beer?
The beer be a milk stout.
You nearly forgot then, didn't you?
No, I was just waiting for the laughter to finish.
Oh, okay, yeah. Very good. And then what about the games? What games should we be entertaining ourselves with and you guys?
So we've got a few games today. We've got Mario Kart with our special guest over on the green room at the moment. Everyone say hi to him.
We've got Nick from the Worcester Sorcerers there, yeah.
We've got some Pilot Wings. We're bringing that one out. Pilot Wings.
That's an old school one.
Retro classic.
And we might do some Super Mario as well. So
Super Mario.
Stay tuned.
All Nintendo
and most
today.
Importantly, we've got marbles. And if I quickly bring that up.
Should we show that now? Yes, let's bring that up for you. Oh, perhaps not. There we go.
There we are.
So this is Marbles on Stream, guys. So if you type in, and you can see everybody who's in the player list there, type in, has to be !play. Hello to Brad. I've just seen him in the list there as well. I didn't say hello to him. And Libby. And Yaz 1970 or Yas 1979. Thank you very much. Marty's, Molly Falls,
Charles.
Jack, you're in that list, right? So basically, what's going to happen, guys, is load yourself a marble in there. Luke's just joined.
Welcome,
fantastic. And at 3 o'clock today, we'll be running that race, and then the winner will get a mystery prize.
Yeah, so it is a race.
Mystery prize.
Winner takes all. You don't have to control the marble. It's just a virtual.
We'll get that in straight up because we will get those questions. You just watch it. It's a bit like a horse race. You watch your horse. You can do some cheering at home, and I do encourage that.
Welcome, Andy.
But yes, there we go. So that's the games. I will run through the rest of...
We love marbles.
Dan said we love marbles.
We do, Dan.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a good one as well. I can feel it.
Okay, so let's cut back to us. We're going to, in a moment, go through New Brew News, which is where we discuss our news of what's going on, and we'll tell you all about this stuff. And probably the biggest thing for us is that we went to BrewCon last week.
We did.
We didn't stream, so we've got some bits and pieces to show you. This is our spoils of war, but I'll leave that for later. Then
stuff.
We're going to mash in. So if you're joining us for the first time, that means we put the grain into the water basically and start the beer going. Lee's going to give us a little bit of an insight in that. Then we're going to go on to Star in a Cart, which is where Nick shall join us. He's actually, I wonder if we can show that up. He's drinking tea from a wine glass.
Why is that?
Well, he came in and he didn't want a mug. He wanted a wine glass.
Yeah, that's what it is. That might not be true. So yeah, we've got that. Then we're going to do some sparging. We're going to show you some bits and pieces from BrewCon, and that's when we'll play Pilot Wings. Then we're going to boil, and then we'll do the marbles on Stream Race, and then after that we'll be playing Mario Kart. So that's pretty much hello to UK Navy Diver. These guys are working today, and I'm not there because I had to bring Ethan up here to be looked after. So apologies, I'm not there, guys. Feeling terrible, but at least I'm hard at work.
Speaking of which, Ethan.
Hello to Banner, yes, Ethan, that's my dad who'll be looking after Ethan. So hello to you guys. Oh, I should introduce, we've got a new person on the sofa, look.
A very angry warrior.
That is Wario from Josh Neal, who is hello to Josh.
And Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
He is the artist who came on.
Yeah.
And you can get his work. We'll link later where you can get his work, but it's fantastic. And you might be able to see, you can just see at the top of the times there. We'll show you that a bit later. And then in the brewery, we have some of his artwork up as well. So we've just been brightening up the place with his artwork. So
There's the artwork.
So, unless you guys have got anything else to say in terms of introduction,
No.
should we go on to New Brew News?
Hello to everybody. If you have just joined us, !play in the chat to join the Marbles on Stream race, where you'll enter a marble for our giveaway.
Yes.
Mystery
We've got so many
box.
people in the chat today.
Yeah, it's jam-packed in the chat today.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, and if you haven't already, make sure you follow.
Yeah, you can get. There's a heart button. It's quite hard to find on Twitch, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
little
up
heart
here. It's up
somewhere.
here. See, I'm going to use my expert
Somewhere.
streaming skills to say above
Somewhere.
my hand. And there's a subscribe button as well if you fancy supporting us.
Yes. Oh, we must say thank you to the subscribers.
Yes,
actually,
we were on yesterday, weren't we? And we were in the brewery.
we just
had
sat
it on.
here working away, and somebody subscribed, and we had to
Did they?
do a little dance
Yeah.
ourselves. Yeah, it was wonderful.
We should have gone live and just mosh.
Oh, there we
we
go.
got someone following. Hello. Is that Anonymous? Is now Anonymous.
is now following. Well, thank you, Anonymous.
Thank you, Annie Mouse. So Ricky D, thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you
amazing,
to
Cocktails and Chill.
Cocktails and Chill,
Following.
Fant for following, Gaskell for following, the Charles,
The Charles.
the Charles, I like that name. Thank you to Gavin Diver. That might be related to my work, you know.
Really?
Hey man, nice to see you on.
Because you're a diver in the Navy.
It might be, yeah. Andy Hain is on. Tracy followed us. Garfield Drum, like that name. Craig's RUK has followed. Yes, lots of followers. Thank you very much for that. And also we'll go
Afternoon,
through
Josh.
the subscribers.
Nice to see you.
Rowan resubscribed. Andy Groves, thank you for subscribing at tier 1. And then Bush, that's you, isn't it? You subscribe to us. Thank you very much for that.
That's pure Amazon, that is.
Pure Amazon. Well, yeah, you can link your Amazon to follow us, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
New Brew News.
let's go New Brew News. What should we start with? Who's starting first? Oh, I'll explain New Brew News.
I've
We
run out
have
of tea.
Yeah,
cup of tea. Only brewed beverages allowed in the brewery, but it's too early to get on the hard liquor. So we have our branded mugs with our names on it. Have a bit of a chat about what's going on. So Jack, are you going first?
Yeah, I can go first. So the news I've got today is all of this lovely
Yeah,
loot that we acquired from BrewCon Leeds last week.
Yeah, we went on a pillage, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Pillage.
for those that were expecting a stream last week, we do apologise. We were at BrewCon Leeds.
We did manage to stream on the Saturday. We did.
We did.
We got a brief stream
like a
out.
brief, 2-hour stream, maybe? An hour stream? Something like
So
that.
it's Mangroves Jacks.
Which was really exciting to be in the little brew shed.
It was. I tell you, if you've not been, if you're into your beer, or you're into your home brewing, get into a event like that. It's fantastic. First of all, big shout out to Northern Monk. They were fantastic while they were there. They showed us around. You also get loads of freebies. So we run through our freebies. So at the front there, you can probably see. This is Mangrove Jack's yeast. This is only a selection of what we were given free. Basically, every single one of their yeasts we were giving away. That was, and they were giving that away to everyone, not just us.
Yeah.
And thank you very much to Chris from the Grainfather, who works in the lab.
That's got a good joke there.
That's a great joke.
And then what else have we got? We got some tasting glasses, which are just behind that, which we've stuck one of our hops in. Oh, we've lost a bit of yeast. And then we got some sour pitch. We're also getting some more from Lallemand. They contacted us. They're going to send us something.
I'm so excited.
Lee is.
Are you excited for the sours?
Yeah, no.
No.
We did have a nice sour in BrewCon.
Yeah, we did. Cherry Bakewell sour. Tasted like a cherry bakewell. That was nice.
Ivy.
Yeah. We've got Lee's sporting one of the Grainfather t-shirts we were given. We do. Oh, that's actually a picture of the equipment there. Very cool t-shirt. Very good. And I should probably mention full disclosure as well, because Grainfather actually, this is our old controller box, and they've upgraded
This is the start of the show, isn't it?
Yeah, they've upgraded our control box for free, so we will be impartial.
Yeah,
But full disclosure, they have given us something free.
Yeah, you might have seen that at the start of the stream we had a section.
Oh yeah, bring that up now. Let's see it. See if we can
So-
cut Lee off.
Yeah. And
Peekaboo.
There it is.
boom.
So that is an app that you can get for your brewing. So actually, we're connected now to our
So if you go to our
brewing equipment via an app, and we can turn the pumps and change the temperatures sat on the sofa now.
So this is what we're brewing today.
So I don't have to keep getting up. I can sit on the sofa all day and have the software do it for me.
What's really good is I can press this button and it controls it over there.
What if you can hear the...
You hear the beep?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Mom and Dan just sit back and brew. Dan, do you have the Connect app? Oh, you've got a message. We get to see all of Lee's message. We did try to DND him, but obviously that's not working. So
Shout out to David there.
So you can send in all of your nudes now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to send a nude.
If you want to,
please don't do
expose yourself. Then, send them my way.
So that's exciting. We also, you can probably see two big sacks at the front there. Basically, they were giving away samples of grain. So if you are into your home brewing, get yourself up to one of these things because you get free stuff. It's good. But at the end of the day, they didn't want to take them back. And obviously, we can use it. So we've taken it. And the same, we had a massive bag of hops, which we vat packed. This will go back in the fridge in a minute because obviously you should store hops nice and cool. We got some from Simply Hops from the guy Will, who did a talk. Excellent talks there.
Yeah, really funny guy.
It was really informative as well.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. He keeps saying about the free stuff, but there were so many awesome talks at that event. Things on water chemistry, yeast.
Everyone's
hops.
interested in that.
Aaron did an amazing talk.
I did do a talk.
You did do a talk.
Might have to pull that one up later. So you can hear yourself talk on couch. Like Gogglebox. We'll do a Gogglebox segment.
We are going to do a bit of Gogglebox, yes, but hopefully we won't do my talk.
Okay.
Did you get some Equinox BBC?
We did.
We did, actually.
We've got some. We've kept it in the old fridge. Oh, what's that?
And hosted
radio.
Awesome.
I don't know what that means.
So it means someone that was streaming on Twitch stopped streaming and then sent their viewers to us.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you very much for that. That's lovely. Wow, that's thrown me a little bit, that is.
So that's my news. What's your news?
My news is very boring in comparison, however exciting at the same time. Gander Monthly. This is our monthly box. We'll send you 3 of our beers through to you in the post as cheaply as we can possibly do it, including the shipping. Check www.ganderbrewing.com for the details. £15 a month, and we'll send you 3 unique beers every month. Not going to labour on that because we've got so much to do. Passing the baton on to Brother Lee.
Beer news. I am the brewer, therefore I thank you so much, K-Bobs92, for following.
Thank you.
Thank you, K-Bob.
So I update everyone with the beer. So we were at BrewCon last week.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't brew last week. However, we have got 3 beers currently sat in our kegerator. We've got the Mango IPA, which was last month's community brew. We have got the Tonic Pale Ale, which we brewed with them 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, S-Bird.
And we've also got the Jericho Racks exclusive American Pale Ale. So 3 beers ready to be bottled next week. If you were following us on social media, and if you're not, you should be, we did the monthly community brew for this month.
Oh yeah, we had a vote on Facebook, so it's between Ned Flanders made an appearance again, and he's not turning out very popular, is he?
I'll tell you what, you know that there's a GIF with him where he's like, feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. That's next month's.
Okay,
you remember that?
No, I know what you're on about.
I think on my GIF,
stupid Ned Flanders. Anyway, that's a weird section.
But basically, the premise of that is each month we give you the opportunity to choose between 2 beers that we will brew for you, and then in the comments you can add what beer you would like there. So, Nick, what's your favourite type of beer? IPA. So you can put in the comments IPA. Choose a style, and then we'll put it into the pot to then choose between those 2 beers. And this month we had, I've forgotten what it is now.
Imperial Stout
and
banana and custard.
Custard Vice
beer,
which looks like it's edging the lead at the moment.
Yeah. I'm going to stack the odds next month. Well, I won't.
He wants an
but I
Imperial Stout.
really want to do an Imperial Stout.
I think Dan will appreciate that because Dan always votes for the.
We'll get
Stout.
Sarah and all her followers to do.
Yes, that is very good. She did an
She loves an Imperial
excellent
Stout.
talk on
That's-
Imperial
She
Stout.
did, yeah. We got to taste some Imperial Stouts as well. Always nice. Yeah, loads of free beer at BrewCon. You should just go up for the
beer.
And it was held at Northern Monk, which is a great venue.
Yes, we did do an interview with Brian, who was actually one of the founding brewers, the founding monk, if you would. And we did an interview with him, and it was really inspiring actually to chat to him.
Yeah, it was.
So
Yeah.
we'll show you that interview a bit later on. But beer-wise, I think that just about covers it.
Voda Snake says, "Is that Nick Bushell?" Yes, we are a house of bushels today. There is another bushel in the house.
Yeah.
So that's good. He'll be on later. Stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, type in !play and you'll get yourself into the marble race for a free giveaway. I've just noticed some
Quickly
comments
looking at
there
it.
from Dan.
Got my 3rd month Prime sub.
There we go. We're getting bribed
already.
Very good.
6 months,
All for
and
that.
you've got a deal.
How many players have we got into the marbles race at the moment?
I'm looking, and it's quite a few.
Wow.
This is going to be mental.
This is going to be a
lit.
stick race. I can't wait for that.
So it's about
You
time
are
to
still
mash it.
top, Luke.
Luke
Quickly,
is still top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
You are still top with a 54, I believe.
54. Well, we'll see.
Will Nick beat it? And I've just noticed
It's not
me
a
and Nick have got the same
54,
watch. So good taste, Nick. Good taste.
You want to watch that?
Hey.
Right, time to
Right.
move on.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Mashing in. So, Jack, could you
That's
please...
tempting. That is really tempting, Rowan.
What's that?
But I won't.
I'm unsubbing. Can you please bring up the mashing the
Okay.
recipe for today's brew?
So are we getting serious now? We can actually brew some beer.
Yeah, I'm going to...
We won't get too serious, guys, but...
So you want the recipe, do you, Ellie?
Yeah, so if I just basically talk like this for the rest of it.
So I'm just going to premise this because... Can we? Are we able to show the brewery at the same time with the new control box on? Can we have a look at that? So in there, in the front of our brewing equipment there, with a little blue light on it, is a control box which looks similar to the one we had before. I think Lee's going to go off and point at it. Now, Grainfather gave us this, and this allows you to connect your brewing equipment to a phone, and we've got that phone app linked there for you so that you can see it. And then Lee's loaded in a recipe there. So if you're into your brewing, you can see various bits and pieces. Oh, he's going to start pouring in grain.
Pouring grain?
Pouring in.
Oh.
So there we go. So in goes the grain for today's milk stout. We've got... Lee, why is there only... I thought we're making a stout.
We are. Are you being very observant?
I am, yeah, because stouts usually have dark grain in them. That's what sort... Well, usually. They don't have to, I suppose, but...
They do. So, this is all of our pale malt. And then we have another section of chocolate malt and roasted barley.
Are you going to put that in now?
No.
Why
I'm going
not?
to do something different today.
Oh, okay.
So today, we're actually going to split mash. So there's been some research, and I've seen a few, what do you call it, experiments that have been done about adding the roasted grains later on during the mashing process. Now the reason why we're going to do that today is because you actually draw out tannins from the roasted grain, and tannins can provide an astringent flavour in the finished beer.
What does an astringent flavour mean? We've been doing our BJCP tasting for judges, haven't we? But for people who perhaps don't, do you know what tannins are and astringency? What would you say that is, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's giving us a radio. No idea face. But yeah, so what is it?
Two really simple ways to describe astringency, and that is like a real puckering red wine that sort of makes the outside of your lips numb, or sucking on a wet tea bag is another one.
Lovely.
So if you want to know what astringency is, go in there, moisten up a tea bag, and get your lips around it. Top tip for today.
Are you telling us to moisten up a tea bag and get your lips around it?
For astringency. Well, I like to throw them every now and then. Keep you on your toes.
Okay, so we're just going to carry on running through the rest of that. I'm going to run through the chat for you. Let's have a look. Let's go back in the chat. Is that Nick Bushell? Then we've got Kirsty's Metal Hands is now into the marble race. Voda Snake swearing at us. I'm not sure why that is. Jack says lit again. He's unsubbing. Have to be careful for that. Beer Revolution says can't wait to lose again. Wouldn't that be so? Guys, if you're listening, Beer Revolution does our tasting stream on a Tuesday, which is coming up this Tuesday, isn't it?
Yes.
Wonderful. We're going to be doing reviews of beer there as well. I'm going to edit those down into reviews that are on YouTube. So if you want to know, if you're into your craft beer and you want to know what a particular beer tastes like, then we'll have a video for you so you can see it. So that's that. And yes, James from the Beer Revolution, as we see the Beer 52 box that we're going to sample this weekend. James from the Beer Revolution usually loses at marbles on stream, which will make sense later. Thank you very much for DWP 1997. Thank you very much. Yes, so hopefully, wouldn't it be cool if you actually won this one, James? That'd be cool. Luke says, hee hee. Dead Pixel at Malvern then, nah mate, only Equinox. So we got some beer chat going on. Where was my invite to BrewCon? I think we did invite you, didn't we, Mike? If not, we're going again in November, so we'll let you know when we're going. In fact, I don't want to give too much away. I'm gonna be careful of what I give away because we've got a bit of a reveal later on today, which will be interesting. Can we see the back of Lee's t-shirt, please? So, if you look there, that's Grainfather, and he's DWP. We now know who DWP is because we can see him on the app. That's the Grainfather equipment that we're using, and Lee's wearing a t-shirt. Got the t-shirt, bought the t-shirt. There you go. And then Luke says, "Nice paddle action, Jack."
Thanks, mate. I'm glad someone noticed.
So I'm going to run through here, perhaps the recipe. So what have we put in so far? We put Maris Otter in. Has the flaked oats gone in, Lee?
Yeah.
And lactose? When are we adding lactose?
Lactose we're going to add at the end of the boil.
Okay.
Just so it will dissolve nice and quickly. You can add it post-fermentation, but we're just going to add it as soon as, really. Otherwise I'll forget.
Torrefied wheat from the US. And then chocolate malt and the roasted barley. Is that going in later? Is that right?
Yes.
And then...
So I'm going to do that for... So I'm going to mash for 40 minutes. Sorry, Aaron. Mash for 40 minutes and then add the roasted grains for the last 20. Yeah. I still want quite a bit of like roasty malts come through, so I'm going to give it a little bit of time to do its thing. But they say 10 minutes is the sort of minimum you want to add them for, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's spot on. Right, so I'm going to move along the programme now because we have on the couch, drum roll please, say a big hello to Nick. Hey Nick, how's it going, man?
All right.
Nice to see you.
And you?
Nick is related to us. He is our cousin. And you're sporting nice rig there today. Let us know what that is.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates, nice. And usually, when you're wearing that sort of clothing, who would you be sporting?
Baseball.
Baseball. Nice. Worcester Sorcerers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, Nick, if you joined us a few weeks ago, we contacted Nick and said, do you want to come on and represent the Worcester Sorcerers, which is our local baseball team, and set a time on Mario Kart? You couldn't make it.
No.
So we had Luke and Nat come down. They set times and you missed out.
I know.
They're strong times.
Hopefully I'll get to beat them.
So you're back today to do that.
Strong times from them.
They
Second
did
and fourth.
set very good times.
So no pressure, Nick.
No pressure.
No.
What's it been like in the locker room when they sort of flound, you know?
No, they were very quiet actually because they got beaten straight away, didn't they?
Yes, of course. But actually, the picture of them showing their times did really well on Facebook. Had loads of follows and reach and all that sort of business. So yeah, they're obviously is a popular thing, and we'll see how you get on later. But now you're here, it's not all about Mario Kart. I wanted to ask you, as I do with every guest that comes on, what is your relationship with beer?
I drink too much of it.
Best answer yet.
That is the best answer yet. We've had answers varying from I don't really drink it or I can't drink it through to yeah.
Everyone gets a bit sheepish when you ask that question.
Yeah. What sort of style of beer do you like?
IPA or like ruby sort of ale.
Ruby ale?
Mm.
What's that, Lee? Is that some with like red carapils type
like
thing?
I'm going to sit down quickly.
I'm going to remove this Grainfather app. We'll come back to that later.
Quickly put the pump on,
Oh,
if you don't mind. So if you click that connect on the other screen.
yeah. Sorry, old man using technology. We actually need to switch the
If you
pump.
go to the brew cam, actually, you'll see it in action.
Oh my god, this is way too advanced for me.
There we go. So Jack will just
Reposition the camera.
Yeah, that's our lovely scratched floor. That's going to.
I'm going to paint that again. Yeah.
There we go. So, Aaron, if you would do the honours,
Want to turn the
click
pump
that,
on?
Yeah,
Hang on a minute.
remotely from the sofa.
Oh.
Look at that. Look at that. Flick it off again, just for show. Oh my goodness!
Wow, wonderful.
What a world we live in.
We are literally in the 21st century.
I can't believe it.
Rocks. We have, so let us know what's going on. We've got something special up on that board there for 1 o'clock. What's going on at 1 o'clock?
Well, we've got the timer set, so unfortunately I don't have a robot that will be able to pour grains into the mash tun, so I'll have to manually
Awesome.
go and add some grain.
Does Grainfather show you this, show you what to do next? I think it does, doesn't it? Let's have a quick look at that. We'll talk some beer for a while.
Well, let's show off the Grainfather control. Yes. So, as you can see, this is all on my phone, which is actually situated near our PC, and we've got an app that displays exactly what's going on my phone screen.
This is the first time we're using this.
It
app,
is,
isn't it? So,
yes. So should we switch places?
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
a bit
switch
more
places.
familiar with the app.
Actually, if you we'll switch the screens as well because we want to come off Mario Kart so we can look forward. If you don't mind switching the HDMI jack.
yeah, we did buy a.
So you've got a question there. Hi, boy. So first of all, number one, Mama says, "Hi, boys, looking relaxed."
We are.
Is that coded message for saying you need to sit up a bit?
Tuck your shirt in.
Tuck your shirt in.
Comb your hair.
And stop wearing caps. Marvin Dan, are you doing end of mash for the dark grains? It's a question for you.
We are. Yes, we are indeed. So we've got a timer set, which I think is on Jack's phone.
Yes, and I believe I just checked it. It was 20 minutes roughly.
So in about
17 minutes.
20 minutes time, we're going to be adding the rest of our roasted barley and chocolate malt. So the app has, not only is it a recipe builder, you can also plan and schedule brew sessions, and then it saves all your session details. So throughout the day, when I'm doing any checks on the brew, I can input any notes, note down what the OG was, what the pH was at a certain time, and I keep going to click that one. But it also saves your recipe. This is all public as well, so anyone that does have a Grainfather or uses this app can access our recipe.
Yes, this is really exciting for us, isn't it? Because
Because we're not much about secret recipes, are we?
No.
We're about, if you want to brew that at home or you want to know exactly what's gone into your beer, we show you. So there's no hidden secret ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a secret ingredient, it will be not much of a secret.
Yeah,
It will
and you'll
be
be able
online.
to brew it along with us. Live.
Yeah, that's very good.
and there are probably plenty of brewers out there that do a really good milk stout, and it would be great to compare our grain bill to yours. Do you add more flaked oats? Do you even add flaked oats, or do you add Cara pills, some caramel malt, things like that? You know.
Wonderful. Big hi to Vrish. She's just put exclamation mark play. She's gone into our marbles game. We'll show you that in a minute and show you how many marbles we've got for that race. And that is for
exciting.
our mystery box giveaway. So we'll load up the table with everything that we've got to. But anyway, that's later.
Why is it saying 3.3%?
No. we are learning this app as well. So if you've got a Grainfather or you're thinking of getting this, then you'll see with us a little bit of challenges that you face.
Yeah.
So
this is the plan.
Plan, man. What's the plan? So the grain weight there, 4.5 kilos.
There are
grain
so many
temperature,
numbers going on
20.
there.
But this is great because it makes my life easier as a brewer because you can it automatically records all of your data, and it's all in one place as well. So
How
all
much
of our,
work goes into brewing a beer?
I know a lot.
It's making me hungry, this grain. I should probably explain the smell in the brewery. It's very malty, sort of.
There we go.
Almost like one of those Horlicks drinks. It smells a little bit to me, and I can feel my stomach rumbling away. So
Get
good.
hungry.
Yeah, I think.
Yep. So I'll do a mash
we have
pH soon, and then I'll put that in. I'll also put my mash time in, which will be 60 minutes.
Yep.
Mash start temp was 68. Mash end temp, we haven't got there yet. I haven't done a gravity reading yet, so I'll input that. Fermentation.
That'll be later, won't it? You'll be doing that when we're not streaming anymore, and then update us perhaps on the next one.
Yep.
That's wonderful. I wondered whether, in the meantime, we should cover the history of this beer.
I think if you cut milk stout,
That shows the full recipe, so we did.
we got it to a point where it was telling
this
you
should-
how to do it as well.
I don't think that OG is quite right. It's not 104. It might be 104. It's not. Should be a bit higher than that. We shall see. Maybe it'll be bang on 104.
I know sometimes with these apps you have to set up your equipment and
Yeah.
your temperatures and that sort of thing. So maybe
One
that's
thing
what
it
it's
does
for.
do, yeah, I should probably note this, is that you can then, you add your equipment profile. So even if you are brewing on the Hopcat, as long as you've got your boil off rates, your, what do they call it? There's like a small amount of work that will always be contained in the bottom of your vessel, in the pumps and pipe work and all that jazz. You can add all of that in, and then when you load up a recipe and you want to brew it, it automatically adjusts all of the grain bill and hop bill for your equipment.
Yeah.
So when we created the recipe, we then put our equipment profile, which is the Grainfather, and then it adjusts the rates accordingly, which is quite cool. And I've not seen any other brewing software do that yet.
Wonderful.
I think it's
I'm
going
gonna
over
play
their
around
heads.
with that
They're
in a
just
bit.
like, cool.
Well, no, it is interesting, but I think it's nice to know that you're doing it for us.
Okay.
Very good. And then you get to taste a lovely beer as a result of it. So we've still got the times on there. That camera needs moving so we can go back to the brewery at some stage. But are we gonna set up
Page
now
down.
to do or you want to remove that off there? You just click the little eye on the there you go. No, not that one. Where it says Grainfather App. Hooray! We've now got full screen
New
again.
system, I'm not quite. Yes. History. Sweet stouts. So this is under the BJCP sweet stout.
So what is the BJCP? We've got lots of viewers here who perhaps not been with us before. What is a BJCP?
That is the Beer Judging Certification Program. Say that after 6 pints.
Okay.
Yeah, Beer
Give me
Judge
6
Certification Program. Give us 6 pints. Which is an organisation that essentially acts as a governing body for beer.
And beer judges.
Yeah. Sounds very formal. It is quite formal, but it's a real cool resource to use as a brewer because they document specific characteristics of each style.
So of which there's loads and loads and loads of styles, and it does allow you to do some cool things with brewing as well, but also means that you can find some styles, like in Brazil, for example, that you probably never tried or even thought of.
Yeah.
And I heard I was listening to a podcast actually, and the woman from there described it as sort of a crufts for beer.
Crufts.
Yeah. So you've got your different styles, and if you're trying to brew this specific style, then this is what it should be, and this is what examples you can get of it. So you can still go and do your own thing, but you might find that you're like in between a couple of styles, or that you're actually what you think might be brand new might have been brewed in Peru for hundreds of years. So that's good. So anyway, you were saying on the BJCP, the beer that we're brewing today.
It's categorised as a sweet stout. So
Okay.
just like the name implies, it is a fairly sweet beer. We're using lactose, which is why you get the milk, or where the milk aspect comes into it, which is an unfermentable sugar, which means when we get into the fermentation stage of beer production, yeast starts to eat sugars that we extract from the grain, and those sugars are then eventually converted by hook or by crook into alcohol. The more sugar you have in the beer, the higher ABV the ABV will, the ABV will creep up. So if you have a super sweet wort at brew day, you're likely to have a super strong beer. But lactose is unfermentable.
Yes.
So you get
sweetness but no ABV.
Exactly.
So what we're saying there, the more sugar that yeast can eat, the higher the hangover rate.
Correct. Yes.
One thing I knew, so sweetness actually exists on a spectrum, doesn't it, in beer or wine? In fact, you can either have a sweet wine, and then if you don't have a sweet wine, you have a dry wine.
Yep.
So this will feel wet and sweet.
Wet. Yeah.
It's a lovely beer actually, because the major, when you think of stouts, you think of the one that comes from Ireland. And that is very, very dry. You might not actually, because it's quite creamy, you might not think of it as a dry bit. If next time you taste it, and then think about your tongue afterwards, and it will be very dry. It surprised me actually when I thought me and Luke actually were talking about the first time we were brewing beer together, and we were trying to sort of emulate that style. And we were talking about whether it was dry or not, and actually, that one is very, very dry.
Yeah,
extra dry, in fact.
It doesn't coat the inside of your mouth. So sweetness, if you have something that's very sweet, your glands in your mouth start to kick out saliva, which is why they say it's wet.
We need to say thank you to Jim2906. Thank you very much for subscribing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Spot on.
Let us know what your favourite style of beer is, and we'll discuss that for you. But at the moment, we're discussing sweet stout. Is there any history to a stout?
There is, actually. So I think we'll talk about, you might remember this, we'll talk about the history of stouts in England, and then we'll actually do a brief history on milk stout specifically.
Okay, nice.
But stouts, believe it or not,
don't believe it,
weren't always dark. It was never dark beer. The word or term stout in relation to beer actually started from strong beers. So they were small pours, and they were strong, and they were stout, so they were short. That's the original definition of stout. So because you didn't want to drink a lot of this super strong beer, they were served as like smaller, more flavoursome.
Not quite as small as this.
Yeah. They were concentrated versions of their actual recipes, if that makes sense. So when you collect all of that sugar from the grain, you create the wort. And in traditional brewing processes, you would extract the wort from one vessel, and the first runnings would always be the sweetest, because they were the ones that it had the highest concentration of sugar.
So when you say first runnings, because you've worked in a commercial brewery, haven't you? We've got a lot of people who watch at home, who brew at home, and obviously we've done it at home. Mm-hmm. We've not got your experience where you worked in a commercial brewery, but also for people who are just watching and thinking about first runnings. I've seen how whiskey is made, and I think about first runnings then. But what are you talking about there, first runnings? So
you've got all of your grain and water in a vessel. You've created the wort, so the mashing
and we're talking
process.
A big tank here, aren't we?
Big tank,
massive, yeah.
But you can also do it on a homebrew scale. It's just different ways that you extract sugar from the grain. Mm-hmm. So you've added your first addition of water to the grain. You've raised it to 68 degrees, like we have on our temperature controller.
Yep.
And at that temperature, enzymes that are still present in that grain are going and doing their work. The starch, which is the sort of big chain of sugar, has unspooled, and the enzymes are then going in and snipping these bits of sugar in a line. And then you get simple sugars like glucose or fructose. Then you get slightly more complex, so two glucose molecules put together like maltose, and then you get things like maltotriose. It gets a bit complicated, but long story short, you've got really super sweet water, malty water.
Hello,
Perfect Bird. Thank you for
very
following.
much. Thank you for following.
It's a great
And then
name.
It
Inside
is.
joke, that is.
There is an inside
Yeah.
joke, yeah.
When you first draw out that water, that's the first runnings.
Yeah.
And during that process,
And that's sweeter than it will be.
it'll
at the
be
end.
the sweetest part of the wort. But as you're doing that, so this is called a fly sparge, and we'll talk about sparging a bit later. But you're first drawing out water, and then you actually add in water again. And when you're adding in that water, that process is called the sparge. It's usually conducted with a sparge arm, which basically
A rotating
shower head that like evenly distributes water over the top of the grain bed, and you're looking for an equilibrium of water going in and wort coming out. And then once you've added and you've reached your batch volume, so batch volume is both your mash water and your sparge water combined, and that's how much beer you're going to produce. You're still with me?
I am still with you.
Yeah, okay. No one's falling asleep or switching off.
But how does all of that relate back to a stout?
Stout, because first runnings are sweet. So you're taking the first runnings, and then the longer that goes on, you then might take a second runnings. So this is after 20 minutes or so. And your second runnings are still sweet, but not as sweet as the first. And then once you've finished your sparge, you're looking at really getting to like not very sweet, more,
Watery.
water with a slight hint of sweetness. But all of that equates, and you can take your first runnings, and you can brew a beer with it. You can take your second runnings and brew a beer with it, and you can take your third runnings and brew a beer with it. And there are still commercial examples. Fullers do it with London Pride, Golden Pride, and there's a third one I can't remember. But they're all examples.
No pride.
No pride, yeah. They're all examples of the same mash steps, but taken at different sections of the runnings.
So the first runnings, and then I'm making a leap here, but I'm guessing that the stout would have been part of the first runnings.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
So
good.
the first runnings, sweetest, highest amount of fermentable sugar, obviously goes through its fermentation process, and it comes out with a super strong beer. And that beer, so it's all, we're coming full circle now. So if you've followed it for the whole thing, full circle, that first runnings beer is strong, and that was the stout of most breweries. So they had stout.
But it could be any style. It didn't have to be a dark
Yeah, it
style.
didn't have to be a dark style. You could get a stout pale ale, yeah, stout IPA. IPA sort of falls into that category where it was super strong. The Russian Imperial Stout that we discussed on stream before was probably an example of a stout of that time. It wouldn't have necessarily been dark, but just strong and flavoursome.
So how has that happened? Is it due to that one gentleman who went over to Ireland and created this super famous extra stout, which has now led to us?
I think it was just probably more popular. I think the dark stout examples probably were triumphant amongst the other
Stronger
examples,
versions,
and
yeah.
then eventually just over time developed its own category. And now, so we haven't even mentioned porters yet, but this is a whole nother like minefield of knowledge that I'm about to spew onto the world. But
I want to find out now. We've got to this where sweet. What is the history of our beer, the sweet stouts? I think
Okay.
you've got to add some grain. How long have we got left? Till you've got to add some
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So
2 minute where the
quick
sweet
story.
stout came from.
Stouts were actually given to pregnant women once upon a time, believe it or not. Now
Okay.
they're definitely not given to pregnant women, but
Now. Yeah.
they were. It was because
Go.
roasted grain had a high amount of iron. It has a high iron
Okay.
content.
Which is important for pregnancy, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So, but it was also almost given as like a medication. And then stouts with added the lactose and milk, obviously for nursing babies, you give them milk. Milk is full of vitamins and calcium, things that make you healthy. But it was actually marketed towards the UK people as a healthy beer option, a milk stout, yeah.
Wow.
So it's sometimes prescribed by doctors for people of ill health to then have a stout that'll make you feel better. Does make you
Not
feel
anymore,
better,
man.
but
Not
Yeah,
anymore.
it makes you, if you have a few, it makes you feel very better.
so yeah,
Don't know
it's
about you
giving
guys, but I
nursing
feel
mothers,
much better after a few milks.
if you're nursing a baby, have a milk stout, you'll produce more milk, which is crazy, isn't it? Really, because that for that to happen at this modern day would be.
A big no-no.
Yeah, we won't be advertising that. However, the milk stout is we've sold out of it now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All gone.
So it's lucky that we're making some more. That's good.
So that was a brief history.
We had that for the lucky people that joined us for our first party.
Yes, it was on our fridge. We use this to brew now, but we did use it initially to make 3 recipes, and people were drinking from. I think there's a video still on YouTube somewhere of the party that was headed up by Will, who might be in the chat. So hello to Will. I must say hello while we're on there to Parfat Bert. Vodasnake says, "Oh, sounds like a dude," and he says, "Yeah, I am a dude. Thanks." Let us know what your favourite beer styles are, Bert. And there goes the timer, which means time for Lee to go and do some bits and pieces. Is this adding the grain at a later stage? Is this called anything in particular? Step mash or?
I think a split mash maybe. There probably is a technical term for it. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
How come we're doing it?
So it's because roasted grain, when you add it, when you mash for a longer time, there's some research being done that it can provide astringent flavours in the final beer. Okay. So if you add them later
that was
on,
the sucking the tea bag thing, isn't it?
So
we're going to get less. So we're going to have a less astringent beer this time. It was good the first time though, but we're tweaking it, aren't they?
Yeah.
I heard that Vodasnake got a bit squiffy on that milk stout.
He got a little bit.
He was a bit squiffy. Let Jack get him. So Lee's going to do some. If we switch to the camera now, we're going to show the grain going in. Well, I'll just move the camera slightly so we don't just see nothing of it. Yeah, you do. But there we go.
Perfect.
So what's going on there, Lee?
So I've just got to disconnect our recirculation arm. We're still going to be conducting a ball out, which we have been doing on the Grainfather throughout the mashing process.
So what's a Vorlauf?
Vorlauf is recirculating work from the bottom of the vessel back to the top. When you're mashing a lot of, debris, so small bits of flour from the grain, but also proteins, dense molecules fall to the bottom of the tank and you pump them back to the top, which clarifies the work, so it makes it crystal clear and removes all of that sort of hard physical matter, so that when we transfer, so we essentially do a lauter, we don't have bits of debris sinking to the bottom of our kettle, hitting the element, maybe burning and things like that. So does that make sense? Are you guys still with me?
So you're going to pour it in now, yeah?
Yeah, so roasted grain. We're going to do it for about 20 minutes.
While you're hard at work there, actually, I was so hungry from the smell of the grain that I've had to have myself a little flapjack.
So it's the chocolate malt and the roasted barley that's going in.
Yes.
And
so we're adding 250 grams of each.
Yes, it's not. We're adding about 10% really.
So that doesn't seem too high to me, but that's going to give it all the darkness.
Yeah, it will definitely make it. So if you look at the app, you'll see an EBC rating.
Yeah.
And that is essentially a figure that's given to beer based on its colour.
Okay.
And
do you know what that stands for? Something colour, I assume.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's a no.
Electronic.
That's a firm no. Somebody let us know in the chat. We'll find
if
it
you do
now.
know that. Malvern Dan might know that.
Easy baboons can. There you go. Finish that sentence.
So, roasted grains are going in now. As another message pops up on your phone. This is going to get funny at some point.
Really?
It definitely will. I can see some things happening with your phone live on stream. So we've talked about the history of we've had Nick on. We've talked about the history. We've mashed in. We're now adding in the roasted grains. The next stage in the beer process is sparging.
So how long is that roasted grain?
20 minutes.
Tell you what. Can I do this?
Oh, hang on.
Just turn his Wi-Fi off.
Oh, there we go.
Now I do want to have a little play around with this because yesterday we got it.
Got it to tell us what to do, didn't it? It did.
Yeah.
It did actually tell us what to do. Oh, there's Lee's phone.
So where did I go? Did I go here? No. Currently brewing. Here we go.
Ah, wonderful. We're in the currently brewing section now, so let's have a look. I was just taking you back to the same page.
Yeah.
Wonder if you click the little click the 3 dots in the top right hand corner, what happens?
Struggling with this.
Oh, Lee's struggling.
Ah, here we go. Ah, so we could have selected start brew.
Oh, let's do it. Ah,
Okay. So this is something we got to play around with.
yeah. This is the first time we've used this. We've used this app, so we found something there, Lee. You can actually start the brew and start your session.
I think it started, hasn't it?
No, it said it was out. It said it was like.
We need to mess around with our equipment.
Yeah, we do. We'll get that ready for you next time. But yes.
Well, Jack, could you flick the pump on for me, please?
Oh yes! Oh, this is exciting.
Brish says that this app looks amazing. Brish, you need to get yourself a Grainfather with this. It's awesome.
Does that work, Lee?
It certainly has.
Yes!
Oh, I'm loving this. Okay, so come back, Lee. So we've got a bit of time now before the end of the mash and the sparge.
Yep.
You mentioned, so we talked about, and just to recap for you guys, we talked about where Stout came from, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to summarise now. So Stouts were just any sort of form of strong beer which came from the first runnings of the wort, if you like. Probably became more popular because, the smell has changed now.
Yeah.
Coffee.
To more of a coffee flavour.
Chocolate and coffee.
That's the first time we've done that because we instantly put everything in the last brew.
Yeah. So I'm really excited.
Which reminds me, and I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but if you look on our website, each of our beers are split down into vintages. So once that vintage goes, and Lee's notes are in there about how it was brewed and how it tastes, and the next vintage comes on with these changes, we put those notes in there. So this time it will say something on the lines of roasted grain added during a split mash. So yeah.
Just keep on the homepage. Observant.
Nice.
We are massive nerds. And we do play a bit of RuneScape. And I've not played it for a while. But
No.
So yeah, anyway, going back to the history of this beer. So Stout was a name for any strong beer.
Mhm.
Became popular with a certain stout, and then more popular, sort of moved it towards it being a dark style of beer.
Yeah.
Where we've got the roasted grains. And the history of the sweet stout was for pregnant women.
Yeah, well, it's marketed towards having health benefits because it had lactose in there. So milk being quite a healthy beverage to drink, I think. Yeah.
Depends what you watch on Netflix, really.
It's that propaganda sort of style. Drink milk, you'll be strong and
Or
strong bones. So
spinach and
what the benefit of having strong bones is. But
It's a sweet stout. But you did say, what about porters? Because we've got a bit of time to discuss that
so I
now.
was
So.
about to say, so as stout evolved, it split from porters. Now, porter was the original dark beer, and any dark beer was probably called a porter.
so so all stouts are porters, but not all porters are stouts.
Correct.
I learned something.
Yeah. So
Okay.
porters typically are slightly lower in ABV and slightly sweeter. Is the easiest way to describe it. Stouts typically are a bit stronger, higher ABV, and therefore are drier. That makes sense.
Unless you do a sweet stout.
Unless you add, so we talked about.
Unless you add that lactose.
But it doesn't make it a porter. You can really get yourself
We talked-
yeah.
yeah. We talked about maltotrios and long. Certain yeasts don't eat certain sugars.
Mm-hmm.
So you can...
Have we got any roasted grain that we can show?
Yeah.
Because I guess if you're not brewing like we do every week and you're not into your beer as much as perhaps we are, if you see a stout and it's dark, you might wonder why, and it's got those coffee flavours. But it's a bit because they roast the grain a bit longer, isn't it? And we must get out to. We met Colin from Crisp, the malters.
Yeah.
And we're going to go and see him and show. I'll get to their installation and try and show you how some of the malt is made and that sort of thing. Should be
probably
fantastic.
go through germination, malting, kilning, packaging.
Oh,
Basically, cook it
exciting
along.
episode,
Have we got
isn't it?
any?
I'll go grab some.
Wonderful. Lee's going to do that. And we'll
Yes,
show it.
Chris, we do need to get Sarah Pantry on. So Sarah Pantry is someone we met from BrewCon Leeds. And
Oh, she has
got
a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Big shout out to her YouTube channel, Daft Cat
Daft Cat Brewing, right?
Yeah, but she doesn't have a cat anymore. She's let us in on a secret. She's now got a dog, but it's still Daft Cat Brewing.
Yeah, and she loves stout, and she did a really good talk on what imperial stouts are and the history of imperial stout, which when we did it, interestingly enough, we got the history wrong. So
well, we haven't done the history on stream, I don't think, have we? But we might have chatted about it once.
yeah.
But apologies if we have done that, because
there
there
you
is a
go.
popular misnomer or
Misnomer.
misnomer.
See that.
Perfecto Bertas.
So that's roasted grain.
bit like Mike, actually.
So
Mike
yeah.
likes Dickens cider.
Brilliant. So
there's two things. We use chocolate malt and roasted barley. Now, roasted
I always
barley
get coffee so much.
has a higher EBC rating. So when you buy malt as a home brewer, sometimes there's a lot of numbers and science behind brewing, but don't let it scare you, because it's all super simple. And this number, so we did get we get all of our malt from the malt miller, and they stock
Big shout out.
lots of different products from those different maltsters. This particular malt is from Crisp, just have to double check that. And you'll see that there's an EBC rating there. Now that is 950, which is quite high, but not as high as roasted barley. It's almost like it's one level under roasted barley, and it says it's chocolate malt, but it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily taste just like chocolate. It's just a slightly less toasted roasted barley. And they also, the moisture content when you kiln malt is really important.
What's it taste like?
Roasted barley. But if you taste it, it will taste quite bitter.
Yeah, it tastes almost burnt.
Yeah, and I always use an analogy of bread. Mov and Dan loved this analogy when I used it. But some people like their bread or toast
Burnt.
We won't name them.
Some people
shame them.
like it almost like it's just about crisp on the outside, and it's like
Warm bread.
Warm
That's
bread.
how I like it.
So that's that same
But I
sort
do
of
like stout.
spectrum
It's weird, isn't it?
with malt. You can. These two are flipping.
No, Jack's just put some roasted grain on the floor of the brewery, which is, obviously triggers me a little bit. But yes.
There's a few hops around.
Get a broom out later.
Okay, I think we're nearly ready for sparging, aren't we? But I'm sure that mash is complete, isn't it?
I don't think so. Jack, did you set a new timer?
Did not.
Let's have a look then on our
I
new
should
app
do.
to see whether...
I didn't set a new timer, no.
Well, it's a good job I'm watching the time, because that has been the remaining time by mash.
Awesome.
So,
Would you like to turn the pump off, Jack, on stream?
Here he is.
pump off.
It's so good. Oh,
No,
we
no.
have to, Dan. It's such a good
Please
video.
don't show that video. Dan, actually, I'd be interested in what your thoughts of that video, because we watched it back yesterday in preparation for our stream, and we thought, yes, Dan had been partaking of the Northern Monk beer.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
We all had.
Yes, we
Yeah.
all had. It was lovely. In fact, I had to, because I was driving later, I had to stop sort of after a couple. Rowan's
Yes,
come back
Rowan,
there
here
in
we go.
1907. A lactose stout was brewed by Mackeson of Hythe in Kent and sent to market in 1910 with the claim that each pint contains the energising carbohydrates of 10 ounces of dairy milk. There you go.
Was it actually milk?
I don't know whether it was milk or how they made it, but we definitely need to research it. Yeah, that would be wonderful. So, what's going on now is, I'll explain what Lee's doing as he's doing it. He's lifted up. A brewery usually has three vessels. The top one being the kettle. HLT, sorry, hot liquor tank. Apologies. The middle one there, which is the Grainfather kit, actually produces the middle one out of a bit like a Russian doll. It pops out of the existing one, which saves on space, which is wonderful. And that will be our mash tun. And then the bottom one would be the kettle, also called a copper, because Rowan says absolutely not verified source there. So yeah, bottom one being a copper, and now Lee is doing what's called a sparge. So he's lifted it up. You can probably hear it trickling away in the brewery. And what's happening is the grain is captured in that middle vessel, and the water is now draining into the bottom one, which we will then raise the temperature of and boil depending on what type of beer we're making. And then the tap positioned over that from the top, from the hot liquor tank, as Lee is activating now, is part of the sparge. So I'll probably ask Lee some questions now. Is there anything, we're fly sparging, aren't we, Lee? Is there anything particularly important in this, with the sparging in this beer, or is it just a regular sparge?
So, sparge water should always be about 75. Sorry.
Oh, should we see the temperature? Yeah.
Mash tun to 75, please.
I certainly can, Lee.
So we're going to increase our temperature now to 75. Why are we doing that?
Well, we actually should have mashed out,
Okay.
but we got so distracted with the history of milk stouts that we didn't quite set it.
Oh.
That shouldn't be too much of an issue because the Grainfather has the element at the bottom. The idea with mashing out and sparging is that we want to halt all enzymatic activity.
Okay.
So all the enzymes that were working really hard, chopping up all those starches into sugars, we're going to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to measure our OG, so it's the original gravity, which is the value that's given to wort, so we can test how sweet it is. I hope that's a good enough explanation. What do you guys think?
Well, we have talked about it already, but basically, OG is a measurement of how sweet something is when it comes to beer, and he'll get his little brewer's finger, which is a little device which we will show you as he does it, which shows you how sweet it is, and then the original gravity is taken at this point because after boiling, some of the water comes off. So. It says pre-boil OG, and then we'll take a post-boil, so after the boil, original gravity, and what it gets pitched at into the fermenter, and then we take a final gravity to see how sweet it is after the yeast have made their action. The difference between those two, you can calculate your hangover rate or ABV.
So there's question that I wanted to ask Lee. So we've got mash water at 14.33 litre. I'm assuming this 16.88 litres is what we're putting into this, and then we'll have a final total volume.
Yeah.
So are we aiming for 31.21 litres? Is that what we're doing with sparging?
I think because what's happened, as I've loaded that recipe up, it's increased our batch volume to 23.
Okay.
But it shouldn't be because we're using corny kegs, the maximum sort of input into a corny keg is about 20 litres. We're going to aim for 21-ish in the fermenter. So if you take 2 litres off, roughly, we're going to aim for about 28 litres final into the kettle, and then that will boil off, I think, about 2 litres.
Yeah.
So I think what we've done here is we need to tinker with our...
Right.
Oh dear, I've said tinker, it's one of those trigger words. We're going to have to play around with the settings in here to load our profile, because I think just popping it wouldn't. So
it should be okay. Next time I load the recipe, I just won't click scale. I mentioned this earlier, because a lot of brewing systems are different.
Yeah.
If you use the Granfather app and you use a hot cap, for example, the boil off rates and the equipment loss, that's the word I'm looking for, the equipment loss is different.
It's quite a hard word to remember that.
Sorry.
We've got some, I'm going to interrupt you there, Lee. We've got a fantastic question here. I'm going to put it to you because I'm not sure of the answer.
And they do overlap, these questions.
Could you make a lactose-free milk stout? And that's come from Andy Hain. I'd like to know why that is. Are you allergic to lactose in any way, or are you just interested? And Malvern Dan says, is there an alternative product to lactose?
I imagine that using things like oat milk, almond milk, or you could even use the raw materials, so thinking soybeans possibly, something to provide that creamy sweetness. You could probably add it either post-fermentation, so aging it on there for a couple of days, as long as it was in sterile conditions, or using like a soybean extracts.
That's nice because we do have to put on our label that we've got that this has got lactose in it, which obviously you don't want to discount anybody from being able to taste it. And sometimes a milk stout added we just talked about the history. It had milk in, and the history is that it had milk in. But you don't want to discount anyone from being able to drink it.
Yeah.
So if we could make a dairy-free alternative, perhaps that's the third variation that we go for. What do you reckon, Lee?
Yeah. Or we'll just do a completely different sort of line of beers and just try and aim for completely vegan-free examples of beer. Maybe doing a
vegan-free. We're not going to put any vegans in.
Excuse me.
I said vegan-free. We're not going to put any vegans in our beer.
Terrible dad joke.
It's a terrible joke.
Dad joke of the day.
Yes,
we've had a few already.
Boom.
Dairy-free, vegan-friendly line of beers. Most of our beer is vegan-friendly. This is actually the only one that isn't.
Yeah.
But doing things like gluten-free IPAs, I'm definitely keen to try. That's really interesting because there's different ways that you can go about doing it.
Gluten-free?
Yeah, so...
How do you go around... Because all of that malt is got gluten in, right?
Yes, that's a great question, Jack. I'm glad you asked.
How do you get around that? Because to me, that just seems like all of the beer, basically, and all the ingredients you put in is got gluten in.
Enzymes. You break down the gluten chains, basically, by adding enzymes that go in and turn gluten molecules into something else.
There's a few different ways in which you can do it. Now, Mike, or Voda Snake, has just given me a fantastic, it's slightly off topic. He's obviously we're talking about that T word, and he said as long as you don't say fondle, so that's another word. Speaking of which, just don't use the kangaroo ball lactose. Now, I think what we should have is a little game. And we should hide the kangaroo balls during the stream.
I'm liking where this is going.
Yeah, and then the first person to spot the kangaroo ball says kangaroo balls and wins the kangaroo ball stream accolade.
Yeah. So we'll for next stream, next Sunday.
Well, no, we've got them hidden, sort of.
Oh, yeah, okay.
As soon as you spot the kangaroo balls. We must remember to do that, though, each week. Let us know what you think of that. Malvern Dan said, there is a tolerance level for glucose. Yeah, we were doing some reading that, Lee and I, for gluten, sorry. We were doing some reading on that. There's a few different ways in which you can do it. Perhaps we'll save that for the detail of it for when we go through the stream. But there's a tolerance level for what can be classed as gluten-free. So you can actually start with grain that has gluten in it and end up with a beer that drops below the tolerance level. And I did see something on Twitter, actually, with our friends who came onto the stream from Drop Bear Beer Company. Yeah. And they got the okay from their lab that their tolerance levels for gluten were lower than gluten-free, so they can now put gluten-free on the label.
Awesome.
So that's good, yeah. So another question from Vodus now. We've got lots of beer questions. Are you ready for another question, Lee?
Absolutely.
Have you thought of doing a mead?
Mead? Yes, actually. And we have a mead yeast from Mangrove Jacks.
So what is mead?
Mead is a beer that is fermented with honey.
Honey, yes.
So actually, mead's probably the oldest example of a fermented beverage. Don't quote me on that. don't quote me if I violate the terms of service, but
Where
I
is
think
quote
it
me?
is, and I would almost guess that this is me thinking back to GCSE history, but the Egyptians
Careful.
used to make quite a lot of mead using honey.
What a great
Pioneers
name.
of the craft. Yeah. But yeah,
Lee doesn't have his lapel mic anymore. It was too much fuss. Hopefully you can hear him okay. Just let us know and we'll turn up. We've put a limiter on our talking and then...
And we'll turn him up.
Yeah, we'll turn him up a bit. But yes.
Yeah, I was thinking mead. Maybe we'll even do a bit of hooch.
Easily.
Just before we do get that screen on, could you bring
Don't-
up the temperature of the Grainfather, please?
That I can.
That's not the temperature.
So
Press that. Yeah, you go.
bang. Look at that. Perfect 75.
So you need to bang that up to 100.
Bang it up to 100 now, yeah?
Okay. So that's really interesting, actually, because So what that's shown me is that on the old controller, if you flicked it to normal, it would bypass the temperature setting and just go up to 100.
Oh yeah.
But we can then, so what we can do now is mash using the normal setting, which is the full power of the Grainfather, and jump
I
up
see
the
what you're
temperature
saying.
quickly.
I'm not sure about that. I think the mash just switches on a different element. So mash keeps the smaller element on. When you switch to normal, it uses the larger
full power.
element. So when you're trying to maintain a stable temperature, leave it on mash. But if you want to switch between temperatures, then move it to normal.
Yeah. So maybe that explains the massive jumps.
So that was the stripe.
Oh, was it?
That was right.
Oh, of course it was, yeah.
Good.
It's really cool that we've got a graph of our temperature.
So now we're moving to the boil. How's the sparge coming along?
The sponge is finished now.
Oh, nice. So we're
Oh, is
moving
it?
up to the boil. Okay.
Are we on the right total volume?
Yep.
So what were you after?
So what I was explaining this earlier, I'll explain it again to everybody.
You after the pre-boil OG?
Yeah.
We should probably do a little quick run through of what's happened in the beer so far, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll go and do all the little bits. You want to talk about what's happened with the beer?
Yeah, we can do that.
I'll get all of the data.
Okay.
And then
So
we'll
Lee's
play
going to go
bottles.
take a reading of the beer. So we're brewing a sweet stout.
Just sparged. And
Lee's doing all the work, and we're going to chill out.
Yeah. We've put in what? 14 litres of the sparge water, did you say? Just about 2 or 3 litres off that total. So we're aiming for, I believe, 28 litres total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those figures aren't quite right there. We need to tweak those, don't we, for the next time we do the beer. That's good. We've got some learning to do.
We mashed in.
Mashed in, so that's
68
where you had
degrees.
the...
And we did a split mash, didn't we, Lee?
Yes.
So we split it with our pale malts. We added that first for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Whew. So these for Maris Otter, flaked oats, torrefied wheat we added. And we did that for 40 minutes. And then how long did we mash the chocolate malt and roasted barley for?
20 minutes. So it was a 60-minute total mash.
Yeah. So we added that for 20 minutes. And why did we do that again?
To minimise the amount of astringent flavours that you get from the roasted barley.
Because you don't want to be sucking a tea bag.
The nice roasted flavours without that numbing sensation, essentially. Basically.
Dead Pixel has just said there, thank you to Kim, aka Ginsters. Make sure you put exclamation mark play.
She has, I believe.
Good.
She's right there.
For putting up with hearing the same clip over and over and over until I get the timing right. It's terrible, actually. I was editing our videos super slowly. I'm so glad that Chris has taken over. But you start to hear the same.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to
Yeah.
Happy and Hoppy. Happy and Hoppy. Yeah, so there we go. Just spotted bottle on the table. Must be one of the last ones. That's bottle number 1. Which had a little bit of a disturbance during the tasting stream.
Lee dropped it off the table
Yeah, he
during the
did.
stream. I
He was
remember
drunk and he was
We
You
were
were.
quite squiffy on that stream.
We've got lots of beers to taste again on
Join
Tuesday.
us again this Tuesday with massive shout out to Beer Revolution.
Beer James,
James.
as I call him now. Beer James. So we're waiting for that to get up to 100 degrees because that's when we'll be at the boil. And it takes quite a while to get up to that boil.
I
I wonder what that little
Should we get a bit of hype going in the chat?
this little
waiting for
spike
it to
here. I
go.
wonder what that was.
It's as if the heaters turned itself up.
I gave it a good stir, actually.
Oh, was it?
Ah,
Yeah, is that interesting? I was like, definitely going to stir it because, like we
Ooh,
said
98.
earlier, things tend to drop. And then because the element's right at the bottom, if you don't give it a stir...
yeah, actually, okay, so we're getting a bit... but what I've noticed there, look at the gradient of the curd before you stirred it and then the much more consistent gradient afterwards.
Mm.
So I wonder what would have happened if you hadn't have stirred it. We'll never know, man.
Tune in next week to find out what happens if we don't stir it. And we'll give you an image of what's
This is an
stocked at the
interesting
bottom.
curve because I feel like this is what we're going to do in our stock market.
Oh, that'd be
Hopefully.
lovely, yeah. Well, we only have,
Up and up and up.
mind you, with that little point where it
99.
drops,
Oh
I'll
my
be like, why did you stir the pot? Don't worry, it's going to come back, man. We'll be like, yeah, okay. Voda Snake says, with the brewery name, have they made a mead? Have they made a mead or have they missed a trick?
Have Northern Monk made a mead?
Have they made a mead? Yes.
I can only assume they've made every single beer in the book. He probably definitely has.
Yeah, I bet
Brian.
he has, yeah. But whether they've released one. They're quite a progressive brewery, aren't they? It was nice to go around. In fact, dare I say it, I nearly enjoyed a sour up there.
Yeah.
They had a sour called Ivy.
Ivy.
Yeah, Ivy. No, Ivy. And it was cherry bakewell. You guys should get a tilt. You would love
It's a
it.
tilt.
We are. So, is that
What is
Dan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Dan.
We're absolutely going to get a tilt.
What's a tilt?
A tilt is a firm, like a...
Oi, temperature.
Yep.
100
There.
degrees. Oh, as if by magic
Come
in
on,
the brewery.
get the poggers in chat. Let's build some... Oh, it's dropped.
So Lee's going to do his bit on boiling now.
Can you shut up, please? There we go.
That's not very nice.
So it's at the boil, so we can set a timer.
So, hot
Oh, wow.
wow. Jack, would you like to get the recipe up?
Woohoo!
So we've just set a timer for you, Lee. So we've got that running actually on the app, which is good. We don't need to use our phones anymore. We can actually go to this. We're still stuck in the dark ages using our phones for timers.
Eventually, we're going to have all these recipes loaded in, aren't we?
Yeah,
We'll
I
have
mean,
American
Set the
Pale Ale.
timer. Can you just make sure that you're getting the hop edition times?
Oh, yes. Sorry, we set it for 60 minutes. I need to change it.
But what I'll do,
First gold going in for the full 60.
yeah, and then at 45 minutes,
Yep, so you need a timer for 45.
yes. Do you want to grab me my phone?
Just change the timer on there. I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure there's a way of doing it. Right, so hang on. We've missed something for the viewers. Hops has gone in. So our first edition of hops, First Gold. What sort of flavours and aromas are we expecting from First Gold and East Kent?
Bang that in.
Say First Gold.
So they're very traditional British styles.
So what sort of flavours are we talking?
First Gold's quite cedary, I think. Well, I'll tell you what. Flick back to the main cam.
And my
We'll sniff
favourite part of the stream.
Pine.
Yeah. You get cedar.
Yeah, maybe
Some people
maple.
say like
maple,
woody,
I think. I don't know why.
orange. I think is one description.
Orange, yeah. I don't know why orange. So we've got 43 on there
Jack.
now.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Lee's back on the couch.
Hello,
Bring him back
guys.
over.
We're
Sorry.
sniffing hops.
Hop sniffing. And then East Kent is, I think.
Are they all? Is that all of them in? Or
No, so we got
have you got to go put them in?
4 hop editions. No, that's the second lot of
Oh, is it?
First Gold. Yeah, so we have got bittering hops in, but we're also adding step hopping again. I'm not too sure what the technical term is, but we're adding late edition hops, larger amounts for aroma and flavour. Although stouts, it's not going to be a massively hoppy beer.
we've got loads of people on who perhaps don't follow, who are not with us every week, or new people on. So thank you for joining. First of all,
If
make
you
sure you
haven't
click
followed,
exclamation mark
make sure you
play.
followed.
Oh yeah, follow
and
people.
exclamation mark play in the chat.
But we had hops at the start. We should add a bit of taste to the beer, and then also add them late in the boil.
Yes, there we go.
Lee's worried about his face being covered. Can you put that back up again? It's much better with it. There we go.
We'll just have to lean in, Lee.
Should we move up a bit?
You can come and sit next to us if you want, Lee. You don't have to
We're not
sit on
gonna
the
fight.
barrel the whole time.
Go on then, move up. Let me in.
Let me
for a
squeeze
little
in
one.
3 brothers on a sofa.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, East Kent, all very mellow, so I think
I'm
they
going to put the lid on this
they
one.
don't
I'll
have
stop
huge
it.
amounts of alpha acids. You might see the alpha acid content on
So
that
there's-
list. What does it say?
What is it, 19%?
No, that's the grams. If you click on it, it might. Yeah.
Ah,
Oh,
here
there
we
we
go.
go.
So like any hop addition, with any hop additions, it's really important that you actually read the label on the packet of hops that you get. A lot of the software will automatically assume that it's in a ballpark figure of, say, 7% for first gold or 5.4. But unless you actually manually input the alpha acid content of that specific hop that you're using, your bitterness level is going to be off.
Which is the IBU rating, right?
Yes.
Now, the other thing I would say there, perhaps, and I'm going to borrow from what Will from Simply Hops was, we went to a fantastic talk about hops. One of the things he did was split a hop cone, and it's the lupulin which is inside the hops, which is
I don't do it from that
important.
one, Lee. But
And it's that yellow substance which produces all the flavours and aromas that you need. And so, yeah, if you split it and rub it, you'll get the flavours and aromas. Now, pellets, difference between pellets and leaf. A lot of people might think that leaf is probably a fresher way to go, but pellets, we're going to have to go and see the pelletizer. But Will explained it perfectly in that these hops are produced in large bales. So the hop that Lee's got there is leaf. But actually, the pellets that you have
You see that?
can be a bit more consistent and can have a lot more.
yeah, man, like
Aroma
the
and
leaves
flavour.
that's crushed it down, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it exposes that lupulin.
I mean, what I
inside.
found interesting was you could take one farm and they might be next to,
A pig farm.
a pig farm, and it will have flavours
of
Pig.
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 So what
shit.
happens during these, if you buy some like a Citra hop, they'll take Citra from a number of different farms and they'll measure their levels, and they have people that are used to tasting and smelling hops and produce a harvest guide as well, and they combine them all together to effectively blend the hops together so that your pellet that you get is quite a consistent Citra hop. And when you get a leaf, they choose a good example from the harvest that matches what you think a Citra hop would be like.
I think they combine all those farms of leaves together as well.
I think they know, so they choose so what he
Choose
said
the
there
best
is they
ones.
choose the best ones, a bit like. But there are certain years where you can't get Citra because of the climate and that sort of thing. So massively
There
important.
is.
And big takeaway for me is, although they look like rabbit droppings, there's actually a lot more work that goes into these pellet hops,
Yes.
particularly BBC hops.
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between. So this is a Type 90 pellet. So this is First Gold Type 90. That's just a T90 is just, I guess, a process and how they process the hops into pellets. BBC is a new method where they actually remove the stalk of the hop leaf, exposing all of that lupulin, which is when I ripped apart that hop cone, there was like a yellow powder.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hop pollen. That's what contains all the oils and aromas that we're after in beer. So they remove that, extract as much lupulin as possible, and then process it into a pellet. So it's an enriched pellet. So it's more effective than a T90.
They do
more
put some back
effective.
in for BBC as well. Ah, look, here we go.
There he is.
We're gonna
man
bring him
himself.
up. There he is. William Longmate.
I'm sure he's going to love you for this.
And then Andy Haynes says, was there much discussion of what colour bottles we'd go with?
Well, there's obviously 3 different types of bottles you can get. You can get clear, you can get green and brown. But we went with brown.
Oh, another beep in there. The brewers can disappear just to sort that beeping out, which is the temperature.
I'll bring that up.
Dipping.
So it dipped.
Yeah, with one thing we did find with this, previously it used to hold, now you've got to be careful that you keep the heater on. So we lost a bit of temperature, but it's now back up to 100 degrees. That's why the beep's gone. We've got 15 minutes left until
The next top edition.
Okay, good. So back to where we were. Brown, clear, green, brown. Obviously clear and green can let
light in. Now, they are paper wrapped, however, sometimes we don't get around to putting the paper wrap on the bottle straight away. And if you get I try not to get technical, but I have to get technical. Yeah, so UV rays or light can actually...
Ooh, careful you don't get too technical there, Lee. Have I spoiled your train of thought? Sorry.
No, I was just waiting for you to laugh at your own joke.
Oh, very good. Come on then.
No, it can affect some of the molecules in the beer and cause it to be light struck, which provides like a skunkiness. And it can sometimes taste like burnt pennies.
The beer Jesus.
Burnt pennies.
Like a skunk,
A few
isn't it?
streams ago, he was talking about this, wasn't he?
Yeah,
With us.
and you know,
Who's that?
The beer Jesus. He came on and had a conversation with me and Lee.
but there are
few streams
obviously
There's not much light in here apart from artificial light, so I don't think we'd get that. But yeah, we went with brown because they are
Brown
standard and
helps eliminate that.
But what are you thinking there, Andy? Sorry, why what makes you think of green or brown? Have you got anything in particular in mind there? Do you prefer a certain colour of bottle? And Boda Snake. Oh, I've just noticed you don't have the King Brother hat anymore. No, we haven't done the King Brother hat in a while, have we?
No.
We've been so busy, to be honest. We've had so many...
Mike's been tuned in from day one, hasn't he?
Yeah, loyal follower.
Loyal.
Aye. Yeah, but
Sorry, you said...
That was just an interesting thought about clear bottles. Obviously, Corona is a famous example of a beer that is purposely put into a clear bottle and embraces that sort of flavour. Obviously, Corona's got quite a distinctive taste, and I think they play around the fact that it could be light struck. But that's part of the style. Same with Thirsty Ferret, which is a traditional English ale.
It's really interesting that somebody's
Old Speckled Hen as well.
purposely wanting that light struck. It's not off flavour.
It can be, there's certain levels of it. But never leave your beer on a windowsill, I think it's good.
If you're doing tasting, actually, that's one of the if you're creating a tasting sample to taste for off flavours in beer, you do buy a bottle, if you can get it in, get a green bottle, put it on the window, and then you'll get that flavour, and then you'll know we'll be doing it soon because we've got our judging exam coming up. We've got to do our online test by the end of this month, and then sometime in September we've got our actual live judge tasting
At the
So
Dragon.
hopefully we'll be back here in a month's time and we're BJCP judges.
Are you entering as well, are you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you paid?
No.
Have you not paid?
I've paid.
Oh, very good. You
He's
need
not
to put
paid.
your payment in. But yes,
I believe to give it to Dan, right?
can we? No, I'll send you the details after.
6 minutes until lights out.
Marbles.
I hope everyone's tuning back in. Should we give everyone a quick blast on the old blower?
Oh, what? Give them a call and say, "Excuse
Race
me,
is here."
the race is on." We could do that. Shall I carry on for a bit?
Current temp
101.
creeped over.
Very effective boiling.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so
So
actually,
ideally
you're
you'd
going to
want
be
that
putting
straight,
your
wouldn't you?
yeah. You're going to be putting your hops in.
Oh, excuse me. Just
Oh,
pouring
yeah.
them in.
Quick, cover his face.
Yeah.
Into the hop spider. So there goes Jack with his
The beer revolution.
addition.
Have we got another person?
Can we
in?
pop the timer on, please?
Timer.
So you change your minutes. So you need 15 minutes now, don't you? Is that right?
No.
3 minutes before the end, we've got another edition, so we've got a 12-minute timer. So there we go, just keeping on top of the beer there. So we're adding in, or you can see Jack adding it in. Hello again.
Okay, so let's
That's 3 minutes, right?
drop the heat. I need to set up for the chill. That's what I've got to do now. But we've also got some more pilot wings, or should we see if we can
Have a quick marbles.
Oh, I don't know about that. It might seem...
Yeah.
We're going to... Let us know in chat if you want to play marbles again, and we'll do that for you. So, ready, set, go. Let us know. And if not, we are going to play some Mario... Jack's got a challenge for us. Mario 64.
Yeah, we'll play some pilot wings. Oh, wait. Oh, it's 3:20.
Oh no, we've only got 40 minutes left of the stream. We're on time, we're doing well.
Luke wants marbles.
Luke says marbles.
Dan says marbles.
Sounds like marbles. Come on then, we'll have one more marbles race and then we'll go on to your challenge and you're going to have to let us know quick. Oh. So, just so you know, Lee's disappeared and he's doing some bits and pieces with the beer. You can probably see on our app there, temperature's at 100 degrees, so we're boiling currently. Boiling to pasteurize the beer, sterilize it, also add some bitterness, and now the aroma hops are going in. Not a massive amount of hops into this style of beer though, but we do want some. Right guys, thank you very much for being on. We still have 18 viewers. It's been fantastic to have you all here. Well done to Andy. We're going to get this kit out to him. We've got a couple of new things that we've been doing. We'll be using the Grainfather app again from now on, so you can choose the beer.
So, we'll have the next style ready to go for next week.
Yeah, I'm going to upload that so you can see exactly how we made that beer. We've got a tasting stream coming on Tuesday. We've got a new game to play. Hunt the kangaroo balls.
Oh, hunt the kangaroo balls.
So we'll hide those in the brewery somewhere, and when you see them, shout it out. Mole and Dan, you promised him you'd get him some kangaroo balls as a logo.
Yeah.
So you've got to get working on that there, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be cool to get like a special?
I think we'll set marbles up for the start of every race now and do the similar thing.
Yeah.
So you can join in and I play throughout the course of it, and then at some point, when we've collected exclamation mark play,
next week.
Yeah, let's see Lee to say goodbye then, because we've got the app back
We
up
might
there
be
again.
brewing a sour or West Coast IPA.
But we will let you know during the course of the week. Thank you very much for coming on. We love you all. Yeah. We're going to do some cleaning now.
Quick shout out to all our followers and
subscribers. We will quickly do that because we've had Jim2906 who subscribed.
Thank you very much.
Ricky D863, Rowan who subscribed, Andy Groves who subscribed, and new followers.
Thank you.
Pymantronics, Robinson A95. Eloise, Parfat Bert, DWP 1997, S-Bird, K-Bobs, Hotel Radio, hosted radio.
Cocktails and Chill, Fanth026.
I think Cocktails and Chill.
Gaskell 6166. Thank you for all following.
Thank you all very much. We love you all.
To tune in Tuesday at 7 o'clock to watch myself, Jack, and James from the Beer Revolution taste a few little numbers from a small little brewery called Northern Monk and Beer 52. We love you lots.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.